Hey, Jeremy here from Long Speed Marine. Welcome back to the channel. I'm going to be playing around with the Mercury here, and I've got something to say to all of you out there, so tag along for this. Alright, so I've got my pedals mounted. I was having a little bit of issue with getting the pedals mounted. So I have the tunnel done, and I wanted to get the seat in to make sure the seat's going to fit with how big this tunnel is ending up to be. And then I also said, well, I might as well get out, and I better get out my pedals and get them mounted and figured out just to make sure that everything works. I've got the steering column a bit back a bit farther, but now everything really works. So I didn't record any of this pedal stuff because it was a lot of messing around here to get these situated correctly. A lot of text back and forth with my buddy Gord. I got to thank him so much for helping me through this, because as far as, I mean, I can make up some panels here and fumble through an ugly tunnel, and I can, you know, do body work. I can definitely bolt the car together and do mechanical, but when it comes to custom stuff like pedals in a car that were never there, it's a little bit out of my wheelhouse. So anyways, I've got it figured out. What originally was happening, if I had this all at the stock height, this is G-body stuff, the pedal was too far back and way too high. So I had to figure out how I could get it closer to the firewall and also lower down. But you want to make sure that the pedal doesn't hit the floor, which it definitely doesn't. You want the pedal to go all the way down, not hit the floor. So I was struggling with that. I was going to lengthen the push rod on the pedal itself, or actually, sorry, shorten the push rod. But that just wasn't turning out to work. And all of a sudden, Gord said, wait a minute, why don't you just space the booster away from the firewall so that it accomplishes the same thing? So that's what I did. So basically, I've just got washers stuck in here for now. So this is about a ½ an inch. And so pulled the booster out a ½ an inch, which dropped my pedal to the perfect spot. So what I'll do eventually is just make a piece of plastic here that will go between the firewall and the booster and seal all this stuff up, and everything will be great. This again is all stock G-body pedal assembly and booster master cylinder. It's all from an '86 Monte Carlo. So then we had to work on the pedal itself, and the truck pedal that I'm using here is a truck out of a truck, drive-by wire pedal, and so it made a goofy turn over that way and back over, sort of. So I just basically cut that off, measured the length. Again, thanks Gord for help on that, keeping my length correct. And so I basically just put a piece of flat bar in there and welded the pedal assembly back on. Now I goofed up a little bit and left the pedal on while I was welding it and melted the pedal, but that's okay. It's just from a Chevy truck, so I can go to the scrapyard and pick another one of those up. But it's all going to sit nicely on there. Sure, it may not be the fanciest thing, but function over form. No one's ever really going to see that, so I don't really care. I'll grind it up a little bit, make it look a little bit nicer, and paint that. But now, when I sit in the car, my feet are at the perfect spot. So, big thing too was making sure that with work boots, I can get to all these pedals and everything. So, I'm not hitting anything with my work boots, which is great. So I've got full travel on that before I hit the floor. Wide open throttle. I've got nice pedal here. My leg is at a nice perfect angle where I'm sitting, so I'm going to be nice and comfortable. The steering column, I've got it pulled back a little bit farther, so I'll put you on the tripod so you can see that. So hopefully you guys can see me all right. My nifty new light unfortunately died, so I got it charging. But here's me sitting in the car. Steering column's just at the perfect spot. It's going to work out just fine. I'm not using this column. I am using a nice chrome column no key in the column, because I will be using the key and the push button on the dash. The original key and push button on the dash is what I'm going to be using for this. So I'm not going to use any of this stuff. This is just for mock-up. Steering wheel will basically be the same size, and vroom vroom. So like I said, this is super comfortable for me sitting here. I want to make sure the steering wheel is at the right spot, which it is. I honestly usually drive with my hand down the bottom. So these are, you know, when you're doing a custom car, why not make it comfortable for you driving it? So for me, I drive like this. So I can tilt this column down. It's at the right height, right where my leg is. So all this is going to be so comfortable for me driving. You know, hanging my arm out the door and all that. It's all going to be at the perfect height. So I'm really happy about that. So I've got lots of headroom still, tons of headroom. Miles to the headliner. When I put a headliner back in there, I'll have miles. I've got almost 6 inches from my head and up. But again, this is basically where I'm going to be sitting. And these seats are power. This is what I'm going to be using. This is a Mustang seat. So it's power. So obviously a lot of adjustment to the seats, both of them. I believe the passenger one's power as well, but I'm not the passenger, so I don't really care. So anyways, that's what's happening here. So let me show you. I'm going to weld up this piece in the tunnel. It's actually already done, but I'll show you me making this piece for the tunnel, and then we'll get on to the rest of it. So there's that tunnel piece welded in. Just simple, you know, cut up some sheet metal, banged it in there, got it to fit, and, you know, just sort of basically hammered it in. And that's going to be just fine for this tunnel. Again, I want to drive this car. I mean, if at some point I get really sick of this and cut it all out and redo it, then I will, but I probably never will. So I just want to seal this thing in. I want to get this car done so that I can start driving it and enjoying it. I don't know if I'm going to completely paint the outside of the car and get that stuff done. Probably not. But I'm definitely, you know, working on getting this so that the car is running and driving and I can just get this thing on the road. All right, so let's get into the thank you portion. I want to thank all of you subscribers. Just this week, right before I started doing this video, I hit 800 subscribers, and I think right now I'm at 805 when I'm doing this video. So thank you to every single one of you. I really, really appreciate it. To think that I've come that far in just about a year, gone from about 150 to 100 subscribers, all the way to 800. Before that, basically this channel was started because of this car and building the rocker panels on this car and just showing you folks. A few people asked and said, let's document it. So the easiest way to do it and share that is through YouTube. And then about a year ago, I decided, hey, let's see if we can actually make something of this. Let's see if people want to watch me do stuff. And obviously, 805 of you do, and I appreciate it so much. Thank you, and I'm going to keep going. All that is just motivating me to keep going, keep pushing, and we've got a little bit of ways to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark, and I just can't wait to get there as well, because that's when things change a little bit in the YouTube world. So, thanks again to all my subscribers. We're gonna have some really great content coming up next week. Again, after shooting this video, I will be at the Good Guys All-American show down in California. I'm gonna take some footage of that show. On the Saturdays, I'll be at that Good Guys All-American show in Northern California. So that'll be really, really cool to get out to that show. So that's what's coming next. And then when I get back, I'm gonna be pushing hard on the Mercury again, and I'm gonna start doing the front body mounts of the C50, because I really wanna get these two vehicles, the C50 and the Mercury, I'm really hoping to be able to drive those this year. So, hey, thanks again to all you that subscribe to my channel, all you that view as well. Hey, hit that subscribe button, it costs you nothing. So, hit that subscribe, smash the like, leave a comment, follow along with all my projects, and again, thanks so much.